Well, hello there. Thank you for being here today. I have a question for you. Are you human? Do you have negative thoughts? And are they keeping you stuck? I have great news for you though. Negative thoughts are just part of our human experience, and every single person has them. It's built into our DNA. If you think about what a negative thought is, truly, at its core, it's there to protect us. Think about it. When you consider running that red light when you're rushing home from work and trying to make it there before the kids get home, you might think, that's breaking the law, and today I really don't want a ticket. Or, that's just not a good idea. I could cause an accident, and I really don't want to do that today. If you think about that in those terms, negative thoughts can absolutely keep you safe, protect you, and keep you doing what you need to do. But what I used to think is if I was thinking something negative, I was somehow broken or just not as good as other people. With all the work I've done on myself and the work I've done coaching others, I've learned it's a regular, everyday part of life. First things first, it's okay to have negative thoughts. Let me repeat that. It's okay to have negative thoughts. The key is figuring out what clues your negative thoughts give you about you and how you interpret the world around you. Do you like that interpretation? Is there something you wish you could do differently? How are your negative thoughts serving you, and are they helping you or they hurting you? Negative thoughts may protect you from doing crazy things, but it may keep you from taking risks that are helpful for you to take. So having deeper relationship with your spouse, or be the reason you yell at your kids too much, or why you haven't been able to get that raise for 3 years. Your thoughts are driving your actions on every single level. And in many cases, your negative thoughts can stop you dead in your tracks and prevent you from moving forward. If you're ready to take action, experience more success, have stronger relationships, and much more confidence, stick around. I'm going to help you learn a few helpful tips for turning your negative thoughts into a source of confidence. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm on a quest to help you find the most confident version of you. I help women become the most authentic version of themselves by helping them find clarity around who they are and who they want to be. My goal is to help women sift through all that noise that they have in their head about who they should be or who they shouldn't be, and create a plan to be exactly who they want to be. You don't have to continue to live with anxiety, high stress, and overwhelm. You can, little by little, get back to a place of peace and live with more contentment than you ever thought possible. You don't have to merely survive day to day. There is a life waiting for you, thriving. Grab your coffee, your favorite colored pen, and a pad of paper because we're headed out to find your confidence today. Most people I coach have an area of their life that they feel extremely confident in. And then most of them have an area of their life that they simply don't feel confident in. Why is that? Well, I believe it boils down to experiences and interpretation. What are the thoughts you have around any particular area of your life? The better you get at understanding your thoughts, evaluating them, and then using them in your favor, the more confident you will be. Today, I will teach you a process I use to help myself and my clients navigate negative thoughts into positive outcomes which increase your confidence. This will give you all the confidence you need. Imagine having an endless supply of confidence at your fingertips or at your lips. If you get good at using your negative thoughts this way, you will have all the confidence you need. First things first, I've already said this, but it must be said again. Stop putting a bad label on negative thoughts. They are just thoughts. Your thoughts are there for a specific reason, and many times that is to protect you. Think of your thoughts as being a part of a navigation system. Your navigation system is using thoughts to keep you moving forward. Your thoughts can move you south, north, east, or west, but are the thoughts navigating you toward your desired destination or the desired area, location? Once you learn to recognize which thoughts your navigation system is providing you, you have the ability to adjust those thoughts to ensure you arrive at the desired destination. So it's kind of like when you're using your Google app and it tells you recalculating. So adjusting your thoughts is just you recalculating your destination. Learn how to use your negative thoughts as a tool rather than a problem. Turn them into your personal little way to get what you want. The one thing you have to do to make this work is become negative thought aware. You must figure out how to use negative thoughts in your favor by learning how to identify them and be willing to evaluate them. Think about when things come up in your life that are difficult or hard to do. What are your thoughts about it? Is it, this is too hard. I'm never going to figure this out. I hate doing this kind of thing. Or what if I do it wrong? Why even try to do it if it's not going to work anyway? I can't do this. It shouldn't be so hard. When you find yourself using these types of thoughts, these negative thoughts as a guardrail, take notes. Copious detailed notes. So what is happening in your brain, write it down. You'll get better over time at catching yourself, and you will also find that you're going to notice it in other people as well. So forgive me for that, but I guarantee you this is a practice, a skill that you want to build because it will build your confidence. First step is to become more aware when you recognize a negative thought pattern or negative self-talk. Write the thoughts down on a piece of paper. Then you're going to learn how to evaluate your thoughts from an observer's perspective. Try to separate you, the person, away from your thoughts and be an observer. Imagine you're looking out the window and you're looking at your neighbor who happens to be inside their home away from you. You can't really talk to them. You can't give them feedback. They can't give you any feedback or react to you. You're just observing something happening throughout the window. That's what I want you to do with your thoughts. Simply look from the outside and stay completely emotionally detached. Our emotions or our judgment gets in the way of this piece of it. To keep you focused, make sure you're being that observer. You're going to write down the thought, take that thought that you wrote down, and consider how the thought is serving you. Is the thought helping you? Is it hurting you? In other words, is it helping you stay in action, or is it helping you stay safe, quote unquote? Does it compel you to do what you want to do? Is it giving you permission to stay where you are and not try to make other efforts? Do you feel empowered and high energy when you think about the thought? Do you feel disinterested and low energy when you think the thought? As you're evaluating all of that, you're just thinking, why is it good or why I don't want to label it good or bad, but why, what is the benefit of the thought? And then you're going to decide, do you want to keep the thought or do you want to challenge the thought? The whole point of evaluating your thoughts from an observer's perspective is to help you to decide if you want to keep the thought, or maybe through this process, you're going to realize you don't like the thought because it's not useful to what you want to accomplish. Let's say the thought is, it's too hard. As the observer, you decide you don't want to keep that thought because it's keeping you from taking any action. Once you decide you don't want to keep that thought, you have a choice. You can decide, I choose not to think that thought and move forward. Seems easy enough, but usually it takes more work than that. If you decide the thought is not serving you and you can't figure out how not to think that thought, your next step would be to challenge the thought. Stay with me here for just a second and imagine that you're taking out a sword and you are going to battle with a thought and you are going to conquer the thought by proving it's not in control. So, is the thought true? In what ways does this thought help you or protect you? What would change if you didn't have this thought? Would you do something differently if you didn't have this thought? How could you use this thought in a useful way? Is there anything about this thought that I could debunk at this very moment? And one final challenge I'll give you is to decide, is the thought a borrowed thought or one that was given to you from someone else? Oftentimes our brains latch on to something somebody else offered up as a thought. So something that you borrowed from someone, or something you've been taught to think rather than created the thought for yourself. Consider this a possibility, and if this is the case, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to keep the thought or do you just want to throw it out? If it's a thought that's borrowed or given to you, it's a little easier sometimes to throw it out just by a little mindset work. Then I want you to really take your thoughts and rework or reframe the thought. This is the part I would say most of my clients need help with, because once you uncover a thought and it isn't serving you, it simply isn't helping you in any way to keep that thought, right? It can be a good eye opener and it can lead to major breakthroughs really quick, which is fun. But one thing I notice is people automatically want to cover a negative thought immediately. So the natural case for changing negative thoughts is it's just replace it with positive, right? Or a positive affirmation you write on a Post-it and put it on your wall or put it on the mirror and look at it before you go to work. It doesn't always work. Why? While I love affirmations and positive thoughts can be good, they will not be successful when you're just replacing negative thoughts that have been burned into your mind over a long period of time. Your brain actually needs to believe the new thought or it won't work in your favor. It can actually create the opposite impact by leaving you more confused and overwhelmed when you add a competing thought over a negative thought if you don't believe the positive thought. So you create this little tug of war inside of your mind. Here's the trick. Use a bridge thought, a neutral thought that basically just means it's not positive, not negative, but it has to be a thought that is true, a thought that your brain can believe today that is closely related to your negative thought. And then you're going to begin to use that thought instead. Over time, and by time it may be days, weeks, or months, depending on the type of thought and how long you've had the negative thought, you will notice that old negative thought begins to slowly disappear. Maybe not completely at first, but it will fade slowly and surely. The next step is reinforcing your newly formed thought and reinforcing the possibility of a positive thought on the horizon. This step in the process is crucial and it will help you get the most amazing results. Don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed or stop here. Make sure you keep going forward. This part can be tricky, but it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. If you want help with this, sign up for a discovery call, or better yet, just sign up for a coaching call and let's get you to the point where you understand how to create a bridge thought, how to tackle those negative thoughts, and get yourself to a point where you're just able to move forward and do this over and over like it's easy peasy and it's on the back of your hand and you can access it anytime. It will build your confidence in ways that you can not even imagine. Lastly, the part of the process is to take a small action in favor of your newly built thought. Help your brain believe your new way of thinking by feeding it, giving it small action to prove to your brain you are telling the truth. You want your brain to believe the positive side is possible. You also can help it understand that your negative thought may have been wrong or not accurate. There have been times that I've actually thanked my negative thought for all the help that it gave me. With some of my clients, I even have them do the same. And it seems corny and silly, but I'm telling you, when you have a thought that you realize it's there to protect you, you can thank it and say, thank you so much, but there is no bear chasing me. I've got it. I will survive if I'm uncomfortable and I move forward. So that's what I mean by there have been times that I've thanked my negative thought for all the help it gave me. Unfortunately, when we vilify our thoughts, good or bad, we make it harder to move past them. So what happens is we spend time in that shame and blame and overwhelm. Instead of gently moving past them, we just get stuck overanalyzing it. Think about it this way. The tension we create by resisting negative thoughts holds us back more than letting go of some of the resistance to our negative thought patterns and welcoming less tension through discovery and curiosity. You can exponentially increase your confidence by being open to exploring your negative thoughts and negative self-talk. It's not so much about exploring the why behind you think it, but figuring out how is it actually serving you and deciding if you like that outcome. If you don't, you get to choose to change it. Yay! This work is not so hard. It takes patience, curiosity, and just a little bit of work. I promise you the reward is amazing and it will guarantee you a lifetime of more confidence and self-esteem than you ever dreamed possible. What would change for you if you knew you could uncover new ways to increase your confidence every single day? The great news for you is that it is 100% possible, and you can start right now. Your confident, self-reliant, and intentional future self will thank you for taking those small steps each day in that direction. So until next week, my friends, take the time to be confident through figuring out what those negative things are that are in your brain, reframe them a little bit, make sure to be patient with yourself, and just take it one step at a time. And I promise you will continue to increase your confidence. Hey, I want to thank you for listening in to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I really hope you learned something valuable today. Can you do me the biggest favor? Right now, could you share the show with 3 people you know that might enjoy listening in? If you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you took the time to leave a rating or review. This helps people just like you find the podcast so they can also get great fun tips about confidence. Then don't forget, come back each week and we will keep giving out little tips for how to increase your confidence, how to ditch that self-doubt and stop your negative thought patterns so you can get back to your crazy confident self and pursue your biggest dreams fearlessly. See you next week. Love you big.